Welcome to this soothing ASMR bedtime story, perfect for helping you drift off to a peaceful sleep. This fairy tale is called Cinderella. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there was a kind and beautiful girl named Cinderella. When she was very young, her mother, who was also very kind, sadly passed away. Cinderella's father was very lonely and decided to remarry, hoping to find someone who could be a loving mother to Cinderella. But Cinderella's new stepmother was mean and had two daughters of her own who were just as unkind. They made Cinderella do all the chores and never let her have any fun. She cleaned the floors, cooked the meals, and did all the laundry while her stepsisters relaxed and played. Despite all this, Cinderella always stayed kind and hopeful. She often sang to the birds that lived in the house and garden. They were her only friends and kept her company while she worked. Near the house was a special tree that grew by her father's grave. Cinderella would often visit the tree and talk to it, feeling closer to her father. One day, the king announced a grand ball at the palace that would last for 3 days. Every young woman in the kingdom was invited because the prince was looking for someone special to marry. Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters were very excited and spent days preparing their dresses and hair for the big event. Cinderella also dreamed of going to the ball, but her stepmother and stepsisters just laughed at her. "You can't go to the ball, you have nothing to wear," they sneered. After they left for the ball, Cinderella felt very sad. She went to her father's grave and sat under the tree, crying softly. As she cried, she wished for beautiful clothes so she could go to the ball too. Suddenly, the doves in the tree began to coo and flutter. They dropped a beautiful gown down to Cinderella. The gown was even more beautiful than anything her stepsisters had. Cinderella thanked the doves and quickly put on the dress and shoes that came with it. With her new clothes, Cinderella went to the ball. When she arrived at the palace, everyone was amazed by her beauty. The prince was so enchanted by Cinderella that he danced with her all night and didn't want to dance with anyone else. As the clock struck midnight, Cinderella remembered she needed to leave. She quickly ran out of the palace, and the prince could not catch her. The next day, her stepsisters went to the ball again, and Cinderella returned to the tree and wished for another gown. The doves dropped an even more beautiful dress and shoes. Cinderella went to the ball and again enchanted the prince, but at midnight she left quickly, just as before. On the third day, Cinderella returned to the tree and wished for one last gown. The doves dropped the most beautiful dress and shoes of all. When Cinderella arrived at the ball, everyone was astonished by her beauty. The prince was determined to keep her this time, so he had the stairs covered in a sticky substance. As Cinderella fled at midnight, one of her sparkling shoes got stuck. The next day, the prince and his servants went to every house in the kingdom, trying the shoe on every young woman. When they arrived at Cinderella's house, her stepsisters tried on the shoe, but it didn't fit. Then Cinderella asked if she could try it on. Her stepsisters laughed, but the prince allowed it. To everyone's amazement, the shoe fit Cinderella perfectly. The prince was overjoyed. He knew he had found his true love. He took Cinderella to the palace, and they were married in a grand celebration. Cinderella's father, who had been away, returned just in time to see his daughter become a princess. He was so happy to see Cinderella loved and cared for. Cinderella forgave her stepmother and stepsisters, and they all learned to be kind to each other. They lived happily ever after in the kingdom, and Cinderella always stayed true to her kind heart. The end. this fairy tale. Sleep well and have sweet dreams. Good night.